Hello, and thank you for joining our Fireside chats at the European Cardano community. I am Marcus, one of the core team members, and if you like what we are doing, please consider supporting our individual projects. At time of this recording, these are Davide's Rookies Game, Ricardo's Web3 user group, or delegating to my Cardano stake pool with the ticker berth to support us at Larissa Health. You will find the links to our guests and our projects below the video. Now hit the notification bell, give us a thumbs up, and enjoy this session.
So I think we can start, and more people will join during the next few minutes. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everybody to another fantastic town hall fireside chat from the European Cardano community. We are very excited today because we have fantastic guests that we really wanted to have here with us. I would say let's just start. Let's just start with our common mantra and everything we say in the beginning, and then we can present the people that joined us today. So we start usually with the generic mantra from the town hall, but translated in many different languages from the European Union, and that creates usually a lot of chaos. But we like it because it's very exciting, and we are confused by ourselves. So that's correct. I will start with the first line because it's in Italian, but I invite everybody if they want to read an other paragraph. So, benvenuti all'esperimento.
Les choses peuvent.
Quebra.
Marcus? Are you here? Oh, fehlende Dokumentation.
Fehlende Dokumentation.
Hey!
I was a little bit surprised. Sorry for that.
No, it's normal. We like this. Every time is a mess, and we like it. Anyway, differ greatly between iterations.
Disorient, overload, and inspire.
Yeah. Our goal is to provide a safe and lively environment for you to explore the highest potential of the human collaboration.
Perfect. And
yeah,
just because we have the chance, Boaz, do you want to read the French part? Oh, he doesn't hear us yet. Because usually...
Yeah, usually it's one of the first, but
yeah.
Okay.
He's screaming at us if he doesn't read the French part. But hey, let's go on.
Let's go on, yes. Yeah, we also have our specific mantra from the European Town Hall. So I invite Marcus to read it because he's the author.
Keep your notes up to date, especially with the upcoming hard fork. Try to study or learn something new every day. Support and connect with community members for synergy and goals. That's what we're doing here today. Be inclusive, friendly, and wise with words, even in anger. And share information without destroying dreams, people, or their reputation. Welcome to our fireside chat.
We also want to remind everybody that we are organizing Twitter X Spaces in many different languages from Europe. So if you want to host one in your language, please tell us and we'll make it happen. We are already hosting some spaces in Greek, Italian, Spain, Serbian, what else? And many other languages, but we are open to expand our reach with different languages. So yes, please, if you want to do that, get in contact with us in our Discord server. We will be great to do that.
And we have also different topics. So if you have a topic, for example, like Mladen, a rumor pool, who's interested in the backstories of the SPOs, then join us. With Mladen, we do once a month an SPO call on Twitter for about 45 minutes where you can learn the background story about your SPO. And maybe, just maybe, because Boaz, he just was asking for the experience, maybe you can translate that one into French.
Oh yeah, that would be a good idea. Another good idea would be making a space about Web3 gaming. We have here with Nash, so maybe we can organize something like that in the future. But let's go ahead and we present our guest of today. We start with Landano. Landano is a very interesting project that regards property right for background on the blockchain. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I'm trying to start my video here. For some reason, it was being uncooperative. There we go. Hi guys, glad to be
Hello.
here.
Nice to have you here. Let me just a second give you co-host right. So if you want to share something, that would be possible. How to do that?
Probably keep it at one slide usually.
Okay.
That's in the new version.
Yeah,
because-
I was trying to figure out what was going on with that. So I watched a couple of your older videos and I saw that some people had like 2 or 3 slides, which made more sense to me. But yeah, that's fine.
We're kind of on the Eli 5 trip at the moment. So explain
Okay.
about five so that everybody understands it, even if they're not from crypto. It just makes it easier for people.
Yeah, that's fine.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, well, so anyway, Landano is I don't know how much you guys have dealt with us before. Our CTO lives there in Rotterdam. So I'm in Vancouver. I'm in Canada. So
Okay.
um
What
but
time is
anyway,
it there?
9:30 in the morning.
Okay, not that bad.
Hmm. Oh no, it's not like I'm in Korea or something. Yeah, but anyway, so let me tell you a little bit about Landano. From what I've seen around the Cardano landscape, this is one of the more like actually touching the real world applications of Cardano I've kind of seen out there, or at least we want it to be. Um, yeah, I know I've got 4 slides there, but that's okay. You can advance or not advance as you like. I just want to eventually like get to the last slide, which is our catalyst proposals, you know. Um, uh, Let me just describe a little bit about the problem we're trying to solve. Land and home insecurity is global. It's something people worry about here in Vancouver, which is supposed to be allegedly the 3rd least affordable city in the world. It's something you worry about there in Europe. It's something people worry about in Africa, in Asia, everywhere. It's, different kinds of collections of causes lead to the same problem. 5.5 billion people all over the world have legal right to use their land or their home or their farm, but they cannot prove that they have those rights. They lack the records. And even worse than that, about 1 billion people daily live with the fear of losing their land. So this lack of documentation, you can imagine how bad this can be for all kinds of people. Long-term uncertainty and difficult building generational wealth. And so what we're trying to do is create, a blockchain-based, a Cardano-based platform to keep land records if you're an individual, so that you can easily show them to anyone who might need to, or you might want to show them to, just right there on your phone, perhaps. Well, ideally, but also there's a desktop portal platform. That's basically because we want who we've actually been talking to mostly are small government leaders in sub-Saharan Africa, especially Ghana, who really want a platform to be able to just kind of administer their own land for the same reasons, so that larger interests can't come in and take advantage of the lack of like legal or bureaucratic infrastructure in the area to just come in and like sweep in a bunch of land out from underneath people's feet and start a large scale farming or ranching or mining enterprise, perhaps, would be a typical example. So we've got this mobile platform where you can just, if you're an administrator, then you can just look at all the plots in your village, say, and see what's available, see what kind of land use is going on, see who's trying to buy and sell or lease land or certain amounts of rights to land to do different things. And then, like I said, if you're an individual, you can easily pull up, legally authoritative records there. Whatever jurisdiction we enter into, we try to make sure that the local authorities are actually on board. In Ghana, that's certainly the case. They know this is a problem and they're looking for solutions just like ours to help solve them. So that's basically everything in a nutshell. We'll talk more about what we've been up to more specifically lately, but I want to talk a little bit about our catalyst proposals. As you guys probably know, Fund 11, we're in the middle of Fund 11 right now, sort of the funding arc, the application arc for Project Catalyst. And we've put in 3 proposals to advance the cause of Landano out there in the world, especially within Cardano. One of them is a Mendex plugin. Mendex is a low-code platform that our CTO Doris there has been using to build our product. And uniquely, low code is a big thing, right? It's something that a lot of people are using out there to that's being used to spread the ability to code and build apps and different kinds of technology out there. With people who maybe haven't spent a bunch of time learning Python or C++ or whatever people, Java, things like that. So this plugin will probably be, as far as we've been able to discover, the first low code plugin for a level 1 blockchain out there in the world for the first time. So this will result in wider access for developers to Cardano and ideally much more real world use, taking advantage of Cardano's real world utility and its ability to process financial transactions and things like that. Cardano's original mission being something along the lines of solving real world problems. That's what we're trying to do with this Mendex plugin. Second one is figuring out the kind of requirements we need for digital identification to use for Cardano-based solutions, such as Landano, right? Proving you are who you are is fundamental to being able to buy and sell or lease land, for instance, right? This is an ongoing problem inside, the blockchain space, inside the decentralized, technology world. So we've already done a bunch of research into this in the background through our team. So it's time to really lock this down and build a set of standards. So we've got a lot of background looking into the ISO standards for decentralized identification. And we're hoping to just kind of gel this into something that everybody can use as a set of standards going forward, so we can actually build things. And then the third one is just finally launching this on the Cardano mainnet, our product Landano, our platform. So we've been running pilot projects in Ghana and working with a partner, Terra Firma, in Mozambique with some land records. They've got tens of thousands of land records that we would love to just upload more or less immediately to our product, to our platform. And like I said, we've got local government leaders in Ghana that would love to be able to manage their land much more efficiently. All we need is to finish our product, tie a bow on it, and send it out into the world, and use Cardano to manage our transactions with smart contracts on right there on the mainnet. So we've gotten pretty close. We've done a lot of development. We just need to finish it up and push it out to the world, and that'll help us with that. I mean, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I don't know, I might have forgotten. You have any questions? Anybody have any questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Actually, too. Why this is not specific to Landano, but why is it that there are so many real estate projects coming out of the Netherlands somehow? It's like
it's a problem that is very, very concerning in the Netherlands. The cost of living there, it's high. Rents are very high still. Buying a property is very difficult. I say that because I was living in the Netherlands until a few months ago, so I know the problem very well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any sense that it's a Netherlands specific problem. It's a global problem. I mean, I just barely touched on the tip of the iceberg of this is one of the sludgiest things that is just so ripe for blockchain to come in and solve. Even in a well-trusted jurisdiction like the Netherlands or Canada or whatever, it takes a month or more. I'm actually not totally sure about Europe, but I know Portugal, it can take a while. Anyway, in the United States and Canada, it can take more than a month just to make sure that what we call the title here is clean, that there are no outstanding claims to to some kind of right to your property, so that when you buy or sell it, you know you're buying and selling something that nobody's going to come in later and say, hey, wait a minute, I've got right to that land. It takes a long time to do that. And there's just so many like hoops and hurdles and like a gauntlet of bureaucratic tasks that you have to perform to just buy and sell or lease property, even in the most trusted jurisdictions. And you can imagine how that just gets exponentially worse if you're somewhere like India or Africa or even Hong Kong. We're in discussions with somebody who wants to use our tech in Hong Kong to just build a real estate listing for a place where that's just a little bit more chaotic than it is here in what I'm used to in Canada or places like this. So I don't think it's a Netherlands specific problem. I think if you kind of like wanted to tunnel in and focus on anywhere, it would look like it was, there were many people trying to solve this problem everywhere.
Yeah, I just have the feeling that the initiatives is coming from that direction often.
Can I just say something? Hi, I'm Peter. I work with Aaron, and you're 100% correct. Even before blockchain, for some reason, the land administration was a hot topic in the Netherlands. And I think I could trace it back to a couple of university programs. Like, for example, the author of the land administration domain model is a professor at the university in the Netherlands, and they specialize in land administration. So they host conferences, and there's a number of NGOs that are. So for some reason, you're right, Holland has become this focal point for land administration, research, and everything, even before blockchain. But now that people are like us are combining blockchain tools with land administration, a lot of the activity happens in the Netherlands. It's just coincidence that our CTO was from Rotterdam, though it wasn't planned that way.
That's interesting.
And I'm originally from Holland too, but I live in Vancouver with Aaron. So
why is that, Peter? Why do you think? Even before blockchain, it sounds like that's a particular. Yeah.
I myself trace it back because as I was discovering more about land administration myself, working on this project, a lot of the research was being driven by Dutch universities, and then we had some collaborators that were coming in for an international conference hosted in Holland, and so I think there was just some universities start specializing in different topics, right? So I think there was a couple of professors that were really keen on land administration. They've drawn a lot of the research to Holland over the years, and then NGOs were launched through the universities and other things. So I think it's not any particular reason. I think it's just happenstance, right? Like one country specializes in one industry or another. So, but it is an interesting observation. So I have, me being Dutch myself, I grew up in Holland. It's kind of
there's
fun.
Nothing particularly unique about the Dutch.
No, if that's the question. Yeah, no. Like Doris, our CTO, has a lot of experience with Dutch real estate as well. And like Aaron said, definitely confirmed that Holland is a very difficult place to get land administration done, but there isn't anything special or unique about Holland where it's a special problem that's why they have all the research is there. I think it's just kind of a fluke of academia. So, but you're right. It is true. Like there is a lot of the signposts go back to Holland. So there's a few NGOs that one of the ones we want to knock on the door of, sponsored by the Dutch government, that will sponsor projects like ours that are going out trying to improve land administration in the global South and so forth. So, but yeah, it's a good observation, but no special reason.
Thank you. And one of the other question is, that's the main question, and that's the problem you're trying to solve in the end, is how do you ensure, from what I understood is that is one part of the proposals that you are currently submitting, how do you ensure that to the potential buyers or investors, that the NFT is actually connected to the property that you want to prove?
Yeah, would you like to answer, Aaron, or would you like to?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure I understand the problem behind the question. It's not that different to me than understanding whether a piece of paper that proves you have title to some land in a more conventional way actually, I guess there's some level of trust there, which is where, blockchain comes in. Like, with the decentralized trust, structure, you should be able to just, relax about that whole worry that, you've taken the human element out of it. So,
that's exactly.
And this is part of why we're starting in sub-Saharan Africa, because there's this really fantastic, unique legal structure there that allows us to come in and build a bunch of trust, kind of quickly, because there's something like absolute authority at the municipal level with all these different chiefs who, basically authority rests with whatever their pronunciations are, whatever they say is the law. And that's baked right into the constitution of most of the countries in sub-Saharan Africa as a legacy of colonial times. Certainly the case in Ghana. So we're coming in and doing deals with these, small municipality leaders, and then bringing on entire villages at the same time. So there's already a relationship there with the users, with the individuals in each village, with their leader, the chief. So they trust that individual. And if that individual is saying, here are the rights, and everybody kind of recognizes that as the truth on the ground, or at least, their leader, they recognize the authority of their local leader, then it just cascades from there. And our plan is to build a certain amount of trust over a shorter period of time, with several million people in these smaller villages, so that moving more conventional, moving the records that the land office actually keeps in file cabinets and whatnot, onto our platform, onto blockchain, actually has some level of trust. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, that's also part of the issue of building a set of standards for decentralized identification proof. We need to make sure that everybody is doing this the same way, and that there just isn't a worry about fraud out there. But fundamentally, it all kind of comes back to the same human relationship.
Yeah, I think Aaron, I just want to add to that, because that sounds like a technical question too, but I think Aaron touched on the main point, is that what Landano is doing is we're leveraging constitutional rights of traditional chiefs in sub-Saharan Africa, where the constitutions and laws of the countries actually grants them the authority, like Aaron said, when they pronounce things to be that's law. And what we're doing is we're codifying and creating good records for that. So the authority already comes from the chiefs, and that authority already exists. And what we're doing is we're giving them tooling which they currently don't have, because like Aaron was suggesting, like dealing with land registry offices in a lot of these countries is really cumbersome. It's not digitized yet. So what we're doing is actually filling this interesting niche where the chiefs have this authority. So we help them create records. So the records themselves have legal status. And then for the technical question you asked, I think is really important, just to clarify, is that so every property record has its own cadastral record. Those get unique identifiers. Those unique identifiers are embedded in the NFT itself. And the NFT itself also has other identifiers that come out to supporting records. It's just something we call the archival bond. I come from archival science background, and this is what we build into digital archive systems. And it's something we're being very diligent about applying into the Landano system as well, so that we're improving upon the record keeping system. We're not just saying, hey, you should have NFTs for this. We're saying NFTs is the right technology, because land is non-fungible. You can't cut and paste it. A non-fungible token is actually the right thing to represent a piece of land. And so it's better technology than what those paper documents in the filing cabinets that nobody can access, right? So we're not just creating, we're improving upon the record keeping to begin with, and making it more trustworthy, because now you can't spend an NFT more than once, right? There's only one digital wallet owner for that, right? And of course that creates new problems, like proving the owner of the wallet and digital DID, like Aaron's talking about, that we want to get into as well. But technically we are trying to improve upon existing record keeping as well. And NFT is the right technology for that. So the NFT has certain identifiers in it. Once that's on chain, that identifier is there in the Merkle tree. It doesn't go away, right? So and then identifier then resolves back out to documentation packages and online elsewhere. So there's a number of checks and balances that we've added to improve upon existing registry systems. We think Landano is actually better than most land administration systems out there already, based on this additional blockchain guarantees and proofs. So it's pretty exciting technology. We're pretty excited about it.
I think it's a really quick, simple question with a lot of answers to it. There's like two entire categories of answers to that. It's a technical answer, and then like the real world answer. I could go on forever about, like, that's a real fundamental problem. Like, essentially at the end of the day, we have to make sure that every property record that we convert to an NFT is as clean as possible and as accurate as possible, and doesn't have any outstanding potential for conflict or controversy. That's kind of the real world angle of it. Beyond that, it's how NFTs work, and trusting the identification of the people who are doing the transactions.
Yeah, I think I just missed the point before, and you mentioned it probably already, with the tight connection to the authority. That's when I was probably a bit distracted at that moment.
Yeah, well, that's just one advantage of working with, individuals where authority is concentrated in one individual. But you can also imagine just replace individual leader in small town in Ghana with, replace untrusted bureaucracy with trusted bureaucracy in somewhere like, I don't know, Madrid or Vancouver or San Francisco or something like that. People trust the process around here to, eliminate or at least minimize any conflict over property rights when you're doing a transaction. It just takes a while and it's cumbersome. And, as long as you can replace that with something that happens on a blockchain, then, the trust level is there.
I would encourage everybody to ask a question if you have one. Otherwise, I would just say we put the links to the proposals and to your socials down there below the video. And then what do you want everybody else to do? Except of voting, obviously, for you.
What do you mean? What do we want everybody else to do?
How can people support your project? Is there anything that you need them to do?
Well, yeah, voting and getting, just getting into it and understanding it and realizing the amount of world-changing impact we can actually have is fantastic. And then momentum will build from there. Like, engage with us, ask us questions, evangelize, and then, talk about our proposals. We really think we've got 3 fantastic proposals, one of which is just like fantastic to understand because it's like the primary function of Landano is, bringing better land transactions and proof of property rights out there to as many people as possible. And then, 2 of them are very more Cardano specific, right? They're decentralized identification standards and a low code plugin. So if people want to get in and look at our proposals and converse about them and evangelize about them, that's fantastic. And get in there, go to the link, look at our proposals and check them out and talk about it. Peter, you have anything to add?
He ran. He already ran. He had another meeting.
No, he did. He just disappeared. I think I'm on a few seconds lag. Yep, he just disappeared.
But Aaron, if you want to, you can create a project item in our Discord, and so people can find you from the European Cardano community. And
Okay.
Thank you for being here. And,
thank you.
And good luck for your proposal.
Yes, sounds really exciting.
Yes, we are building something very nice.
Yeah, we're certainly excited, and it's great to be here. Yeah.
Yes, fantastic. Well, you can return back anytime you want. If you need to say something more specific about one of your projects, let's just get in touch with us, and we'll make it happen again.
All right. Thank you.
You're very welcome. But let's move on the next guest because the time is running out. And we have somebody that everybody knows now, one of the biggest names in the Cardano ecosystem, Worldmobile. And I will invite Hannah to take it from here and tell us something more about the project. Maybe not so much technical part of the situation, but more on the emotional and communication side.
And about herself, because
and about yourself. Is that present yourself, please?
Well, thank you so much for your invitation. It's really great to be here. Yeah, I think, like you said, a lot of people do know about Worldmobile. My role is, as the head of content, is just to really talk about Worldmobile and find ways, as a Web3 company, as a decentralized team, but also as a deepen project. It's important that our community all around, whether the people that are using our network or people that are facilitating the network itself, have a way to connect and share in this problem that we're trying to solve. And basically, as a company, we're trying to utilize the blockchain technology to democratize connectivity, which means trying to make it accessible and affordable, especially in underserved and remote areas. And I think, a lot of people, when they talk about what does it really mean to be unconnected, a lot of people would think of specific areas in the world, but the truth is in every corner of the world there is a sense of unconnected people, and that's kind of where the problem lies, whether you know, you're living in a more rural area and you can't get connectivity, or you're living in you know, even in Europe you have pockets where you have blind spots, or places where, you know, your connection just drops and this is still an issue to resolve, because you know, when you're talking about meaningful connectivity, you're talking about, you know, enabling yourself, or a level of connectivity that is offering you satisfying, but also a connectivity that enriches and gives you a productive time online. Not just, sometimes, for example, when you look at data, there's around 3 billion people that are unconnected all over the world. But then when you look at who are the connected and how do you gauge that, even the data is quite interesting, because, you know, you could think, oh, if a person has connectivity sporadically within the week, do you consider that person a connected person? Or are they also kind of part of the unconnected? If you can't do banking, if you can't do meaningful transactions, or something productive on it, does it really mean you're connected? And even within Europe, you see that the current data shows, I think, around in specific areas like you know, I think it's possibly in the south, you've got around like 17% of people that are unconnected. In the US, for example, you see statistics that show 24 million people are unconnected, and that's quite an interesting data point. And then when you go deeper into, again, what we're talking about, meaningful connectivity, meaningful coverage, that number is set to even double. So yeah, this is a global project, and we're basically, yeah, and you are able to be part of this project. Anybody can be, and building this infrastructure with us, and basically being incentivized throughout that process. And we build this network together, and for whatever part of the network you want to be involved in, yeah, there are different ways that, you know, you're rewarded for that, and we build this together. And as our CEO Mickey Watkins says, together we are unstoppable, and we really lean into that in terms of our, you know, sharing economy, and how all of that plays a part in terms of creating a distributed ownership of our infrastructure, but also talking about it from a scalable perspective. And yeah, and the digital divide is global, is basically my point. I don't know if you have any questions, or if that's how you'd like to lead the session. Yeah, that's kind of who we are and what we're doing.
Yeah,
Thank you.
but only Worldmobile. I know when we introduced each other, you were saying you have some really great topics about how is it to be a woman in Web3, in technology general. And I mean, there's a lot of males out there.
Yeah.
And you got to be strong, probably, or how is it? How is this?
I think also, like, so my role is a non-technical role within tech, right? And I think that's an important and interesting position to be in, basically being able to translate. All of this has to make sense, and it needs to carry all of us in it as well. I think when we're talking about building on a blockchain, it forces us to think of infrastructure differently, on how we build differently, and not succumb to like the same the typical ways of how, you know, this top down way of building that we're all kind of been indoctrinated into. And so, you know, I think with blockchain, as we question structures that don't fit, as we, for example, in telecoms, we are always saying, like, you know, traditional telecoms is not able to scale this because and connect everyone. Like, talking about 3 billion people unconnected is quite a massive number, and I'm not sure everybody's really aware of how big that number really feels, you know. And I think it challenges us to build differently, and I hope that could also translate in how we also interact, and how we build internally our systems, how we build the infrastructure, but also yeah, how we build functions differently. So I think I think we need more women. I think we need more people of color. I think that a lot of the solutions that we build are incredible, but also are they coming from the people that are experiencing the challenges deeply, as well, as a question that we need to ask. And what does it look like to incorporate all these different infrastructures and different thinking into our processes? I think is an important part of it as well. And yeah, I think it's quite an interesting place to be in. I joined blockchain and basically Web3 around 2017 by joining an exchange. And that's quite a very different kind of structure where you're really talking about the monetary and the now of things. But I love being part of this side of Web3 where we're building a solution together, and that for me is quite more exciting. And I don't necessarily think you need to be like strong to be in this space per se, but I think it's a matter of trying to carve out your own space that is just yours. But it is challenging, and I think it's yeah, I think we're still working on it. On at least me personally, I come from a very specific culture that that is quite bold, but also holds women at a specific, like, it does push you to take ownership, and that kind of self-determination is an important part of the culture that I grew up in. But also we communicate a bit differently. I think we come off of as very soft as well, and so that kind of comparison of like being soft but also being quite knowing what you want is like an important balance. And yeah, so I think it's, you know, it's a progress, and it's, you do get a bit of what do you call it, imposter syndrome sometimes, but I think that's something everyone could get as well. But you know, it's a learning process, I would say, but a very rewarding one.
Very cool.
Very nice indeed.
I have a question, Hannah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at your website, unique users, 24 hours, 57,000. Like, mostly, where are these people?
So you're looking at the WMT scan, where you can also see where, so if you go on to WMT scan, that's where we log in, you see daily users, and it's updated every day. And so the users, right now we have deployed a network in Zanzibar. We have a mesh network there. We also have in Pakistan, as well as, yeah, thanks for the link, Marcus, as well as we've also deployed now, well, this is not on WMT scan per se, but we've also deployed an aerostat in Mozambique, which is quite exciting for us in terms of showcasing what our aerostat can do as well.
Okay, well, what I really wanted to ask though was like, how this is feels like a similar problem, or maybe lack of problem to, you know, our rollout journey. You get a lot of friction or pushback or anything like that, any kind of static from legacy mobile providers in areas where you're actually coming online and getting some users?
I think, you know, the question of bridging the digital divide is a concern that's not just felt by people who experience not being connected, but it's a worldwide concern. So you have bodies like the ITU, the International Telecommunications Unit, which is a fraction of the UN, for example, that is focused on this and gets, you know, telecoms providers together and talks about, you know, how do we connect more people? So this is a problem that even traditional telecoms hasn't been able to bridge, and they know it. They know it, and they acknowledge it as well. And it's not an easy problem to solve as well. We're not saying that it's easy, but we're coming in with a fresh perspective, with a way, you know, our team is comprised of people who have traditional telecoms backgrounds. So it's not just coming from a blockchain and a technology perspective, but kind of putting those two pieces together and saying, how do we think differently through blockchain? So actually we had a really nice interview we did for when we launched the Mozambique aerostat with Alan, our COO, and he's you know, he has a huge background in traditional telecoms, and he mentions like years ago going to an event in London and for telecoms and on how to use blockchain. And so he said it was quite interesting because the way that people were thinking of it was from a perspective of, oh, how do we log in data? How do we use it? Because that's kind of what people want to think of it as, like a data, like a data source, like how do we, you know, use it internally, but like not thinking of it from a perspective of how do we actually flip our infrastructure to see how this could work. And right now, our Mozambique launch is also has been in partnership with Vodacom. So actually, they welcome the possibility of also working with us in terms of seeing how all this will play out. And it's quite interesting because I think to some extent they're also kind of seeing in what ways they can also work with us in these situations, because it is not an easy problem to solve. And so even with for example, the launch in Mozambique, the aerostat, we had a case study that was published by GSMA. And GSMA is a big body as well that talks a lot about how do we connect the unconnected with new technologies. And so, you know, we're finding that the aerostat, for example, has brought back data that's showing that it's 12 times cheaper, it's easier to connect at rural areas. And, you know, you're talking about eliminating the idea of pole-to-pole solution, which is quite infrastructurally draining, especially when you're looking at like rural deployments. So we are seeing we're seeing some interest, and I think they're seeing how the water will flow, but we are also part of like these big infrastructures like the Worldmobile Congress, which brings in, you know, hundreds of big names like the Ericsson, Nokia, all of these, like AT&T, all of these bodies coming in and showcasing their work. And we are doing that alongside, alongside them as well, and showcasing our solutions. So we're quite excited to see what our decentralized physical infrastructure deepened solution brings to the table in terms of telecoms. And we are, we're in there, but it's also been a long process. I hope that kind of answers the question.
Yeah, it does. It's a lot of what you said are like the same things I say about, you know, conflict versus cooperation for our project.
Yeah, agreed. And I think it's true. Like, I think these are big problems, and it's not just for one person to solve them. And again, that's why I really love our CEO's tagline, you know, together we are unstoppable, because really we need to do this together. That's why the sharing economy is something we are, you know, that we know will work, because, you know, building infrastructure, all of us decentralized, is what we think is going to be the next step in terms of really getting billions of people connected to the internet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks.
Hello, everyone.
Hey,
How many customers Worldmobile have right now?
Oh, that's a tough question to answer. I think you can on WMT scan, you should be able to see how many like unique users there are. So this is updated every single day, so you should be able to see it live, and it's
At the
Another
current
question.
at the moment, it shows 57,000 and a few more.
There we go.
Okay. And it's easy to talk with the people in Mozambique. I ask because I'm a Portuguese, and we have connections, historical connections with Mozambique. They speak Portuguese.
Yes, they do.
It's easy to talk with the people in Mozambique, or it's very difficult?
We have a team on the ground. So for the Mozambique launch, actually, I would also invite you all to watch the Mozambique BTS show that we did. It's an hour long with interviews on how that came to pass and what our process was in terms of working with the regulators and all of that. So we have, like, the government in Mozambique was very supportive. Their regulatory body was quite excited at the concept of connecting the village of Messenger, which is where we are. And so in terms of like on the ground, we have a team on the ground that is local, but also our team is there. And we're also training, by the way, people from the Messenger village that we were connecting. We were able to also train people on using the technology, as in like the aerostat. I mean, they're in the process of training, that we've identified 2-3 people there. And actually there's 1 woman as well. So that's like big news for us, which is an amazing thing. But also, yes, we have that connection. And I'd invite you to watch that video as well, because it gives quite more context in terms of what we were able to do on the ground. But the regulators there were really fantastic in supporting us in that process.
That video, it's in YouTube.
Yes, it's on YouTube, exactly. I can share
look-
the link as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
When you talk to the customers, do you go into the crypto part, or do you basically just explain the product? And so people that have no connection to blockchain whatsoever, do you just explain the product and say, okay, we're going to connect you to the other ones? And then there's the token. Is this relevant for those people that are getting connected at that point, or do you actually not talk about it? Because why I'm asking is, I always say crypto and blockchain is just a technology behind everything that we're trying to build, and we should communicate the solution.
I think it's the crypto layer, or like the blockchain layer is, well, the crypto layer specifically is something, it's different countries have different regulations, right? And so at this point, what we're doing is just connecting people. And so, but the data, for example, could go through, could be validated by the Earth nodes, for example, right? And these are things that I don't necessarily think people care about, that part of, do you know how your cell phone works? Do you really know how your internet works? Not really, you're happy that it works, right? But for people, it's more that, for example, you've got AirNode hosts in Zanzibar, for example. So this is specific to Zanzibar, for example. We install air nodes there, and people who host air nodes are able to earn from them. And this is also data that you could see on the WMT scan of like an average air node would earn. You'll be able to see the list there. And, they are able to earn from connecting others, but that's it. I mean, really what they earn is their fiat currency, is not necessarily our crypto or something like that. And then you also have our app. The Worldmobile app is it has a DID layer as well, and this is something people can use. They can opt into it or not. It's also their choice. But again, it's like we have an educational process where we talk about, how to use the app. For example, in the presentation picture that you see those 2 ladies on the cap, or the 2 guys looking at their cell phone. This was a specific activation that we did, where we went around and we explained how the app works, how do you get data, all of these things, where we utilized a certain like physical activations where we're educating people about our product, and in that educating people about not necessarily crypto, but you could use this as your identity layer and things like that, where we explain things. But ultimately, people are earning from it, and the educational process does come. But yeah, it depends on a different levels, I imagine.
Depends on the recipient that you're talking to. So for
Yeah.
the operators, they're
Yeah,
obviously creating a business,
actually,
so they should be learning about this, but for the average user, it doesn't matter so much, correct?
yeah, I think so. And actually, funny enough, we did a test. We do like some testimony videos sometimes, and we asked we deploy a lot of air nodes in schools, for example, because schools are like great hubs where people connect, where people come together, people use it to learn, and it's quite a great place to connect, but also for the school to earn if they want it, like they are able to earn from it as well. And one of the teachers was like, we were asking people, oh, like, what do you use the internet for? And people would say, oh, I watch football, I watch this, I do that, whatever. And one of the guys was like, oh, I buy crypto. And we're like, really? He's like, yeah, I'm trading and stuff. We're like, okay, that's fascinating. And we kept that a story, but I mean, we didn't say anything to him. That was just something that he wanted to share with us, which was quite funny, I thought.
My last question, how big is one of these air nodes? I mean, like
Depends.
they look like massive things, right? But are they that big?
Well, the air nodes are the little ones that get I mean, it depends. We call them all air nodes, but the air nodes are basically the point of contact from the person to the internet, like the devices that people use. So it could be it could be anything. It could be as big as that, depending on where we need to deploy it and what it is. The aerostat, like the big balloon, I have somewhere here. How big it is? It's around.
In the background. Oh no, you're not looking for the image.
I'm looking online. I'll find it. It's quite big though. It's not a small thing. Like it's massive, and it takes like a few. When you watch, if you do watch the BTS, which I do recommend, it's a great piece of content. But when you see like how they unfold it, like a group of people, and how it gets inflated. You see that whole process. It is quite big. And then it goes up to I think 130. It can cover like 130 kilometers, like just like a dome of internet basically, which is quite an impressive reach. But I'll find out how big it actually is and send it to you. But I know we have this data. I just don't remember at the top of my head, to be honest.
300 meters or so. I'm not sure. I think
The high, yeah, it can go up as high as that. Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
I'm just talking about the reach of internet, like how far one of those can actually reach in terms of like penetrating internet.
Cool, thank you.
Very, very nice. Thank you. I think we should move on because time is running out, and now it's time for Farmer Nash. I'm so excited to have him here with us because I'm a game developer, as you probably already know, and he is one of the most successful Web3 game developers in our space, and having Goombles on Cardano, for me, is a very important thing. So, Farmer Nash, take it away, please.
Alrighty, real quick, mic check 1, 2. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, some amazing projects we just had. I even learned so much about Worldmobile token. I'm a big fan of them. But hello, everyone. I'm Nash, a lifelong gamer and founder of Goombles. Goombles is a tower defense game built for mobile devices, and it's powered on the Cardano blockchain. But before we get into that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about kind of how Goombles started and came to be. So after basically playing video games my entire life, in 2020, I discovered that I can actually own a part of the game that I loved so much, right? There was this kind of metaverse idea. And it was like a completely new sense of like game mechanics. And it was the new innovation that I believe is going to take gaming by storm. Earlier, like 2007, I believe, we saw a lot of games went to free to play and Facebook, and people were like, wow, that's definitely not going to work. And then what do you know? It's a huge market. The mobile gaming market is almost $120 billion, I believe, at the current time. And it's growing like crazy. And now I believe blockchain is that next layer and that next innovation. So after playing dozens of Web3 games, basically they were all kind of short-lived. They all really focused too hard on the economy and the crypto layer, which is kind of what we were talking about a bit earlier. We need to focus on the product, and blockchain's kind of like in the background. So I decided to create Goombles, which is a game for gamers, and we're going to use blockchain as what I like to say, that the icing on the cake, right? So Goombles is a 3D tower defense game, and it's on mobile, as I said, powered by Cardano. And we're an actual game for gamers. So what that means is you're going to be able to move your mech around the battlefield, upgrade towers, unlock sweet upgrades, and basically play your style, right? So for anyone that doesn't know, the goal of a tower defense game is enemies are coming from this way, your base is over here, and as they come, you need to do everything in your power to stop them, right? So each game takes maybe 2 to 5 minutes, depending on how skilled the players are. And, you could collect rare items. And my absolute favorite thing is you get to destroy your friend or enemy in a 1 versus 1 online. So that's always fun. And we started as more of an indie project, but just recently, a few months ago, we've actually completely like upgraded our team, and we have incredibly skilled and experienced devs. We have amazingly talented artists. So the quality of the game and the graphics and everything has been elevated massively. And the good thing is that we actually have our pre-alpha, which is playable right now. So if you hold a Goomble, you can actually play on either PC or Android. The game is playable, and we've been getting some amazing feedback from our players, testers, if you want to call them. But yeah, I've even played some games with the community, and it's been very, very fun. And Goombles is kind of unique, and it's not really like other Web3 games. Well, first of all, because we have a sweet and kind of silly take on tower defense, we're a candy themed, which can also reach a very wide audience. Like Candy Crush is one of the most popular mobile games. So many players. And also we have a player-owned economy from being on chain, right? So not only that do we have the economy and the kind of sweet theme, but we have a movable character, which is our unique in-game mechanic that separates us not only from Web3 games, but Web2 games as well, right? So we're really trying to bring this Web2 quality into Web3 gaming, which is something that, at least on Cardano, it's very, very rare. And only maybe 1 or 2 projects are currently pulling that off. So one thing to note is that everyone gets onboarded to Web3 in a different way, right? We've talked about real estate. We've talked about, mobile devices. And I personally got onboarded via video games. And there's there's over 3 billion gamers across the globe, right? So if we can target them and onboard them to Web3, that would be massive. And I personally believe, and I'm seeing with actual evidence now, not really on Cardano, but on many other chains, that gaming is an amazing Trojan horse. And basically someone's playing this game and they get onboarded to Web3 without even knowing it. They love it. And then they actually check out the ecosystem. They can understand the benefits, right? So my opinion, gaming is one of the biggest Trojan horses for Web3 adoption. And with Goombles, we want to onboard as many gamers as we can to the tech. So if you want to be part of kind of an early, delicious tower defense game, then we'd love to have you in our community. Just go ahead and join our Discord, or you can get a Goombles NFT.
Amazing, amazing. Just a question, Nash. How do you implement exactly the connection between Web 2 and Web 3? I mean, if a user comes from Web 2, how does it feel the presence of the blockchain underlying it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when I actually started Web3 gaming, it was really clunky, right? You'd have to basically connect your wallet, and then there wasn't really many games on Cardano, if any. So it was all on Ethereum. You'd have to pay like $100 in gas just to get your account set up and get the tokens. And then you start playing, right? So it was an absolute pain. But now there's a lot of different solutions, and people are starting to put things off chain, and on chain is more when you're transferring things. So it really depends on the game. For Goombles specifically, if you're holding one of our NFTs, you can think of yourself as a VIP in our ecosystem. So you're going to get faster progression. You're going to get periodic drops of items that you're going to need. And overall, you're basically just going to get more and rarer things that other gamers that don't have the NFTs are going to want. So they're going to have to get it from you, which is why we're a player-owned economy.
Oh, that's very smart. Very nice. And another question, if I may, how did you get to that stage? I mean, you are very successful. Everybody knows you. Everybody wants to have you speaking in some events. You have a lot of followers on X. How did you get there? For me, it's very difficult to get some attention from the community about my project, and I would like to know how did you manage to get all of that?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So in the beginning, I actually just started as a gaming account, and I was just posting things about games, and I stumbled upon the world's largest Web3 game, which is called Axie Infinity.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just making posts about what I was doing, right? So I started a guild. We had over 100 players, and these players, they were feeding their families. They were making, some of them more than their parents, simply from playing Axie Infinity. So it was an amazing time. And basically, I was just documenting the process on X. So most of my followers and community was actually at the time just for Axie Infinity and video games. Now that I've transitioned to kind of a more crypto focused, specifically Cardano focused, I have definitely seen a drop in engagement and whatnot. But honestly, for if you're in Cardano trying to grow, the total addressable market, I guess is what we could call it, of people that you can follow you is not as large as other niches. So if you're starting out, you might want to look to expand to other chains or a subset. So like, let's say gaming, which isn't, you can garner a massive audience, or tech, which can get a much larger audience. And then blockchain can kind of be your second thing. That's what I personally did.
Okay. Very interesting. If anybody else have some questions, there will be, we have still a few minutes left.
Your game is actually fast, right? Because the first games that we saw were like really, really slow. I mean, I think that in Web3, there's a lot of nostalgia currently.
Yeah.
Where does this come from? You know that? Do you have an idea?
Well, what do you mean by fast?
I mean, your game is fast and probably I haven't played it yet, to be honest. Right. I didn't have a look at it. I'm not much of a gamer, not anymore, since a long, long time. I'm growing my beard to show that I'm older. But from what I saw, the first games on Web3, they were really were more slow, and more like round game based games, right? And yours is real time. Is it kind of this like I'm gonna out myself as a complete loser on this, like World of Warcraft playing live? Is it League?
Got it. Yeah, I think I know what you're asking now. Yeah, so kind of the evolution of Web3 games has been very interesting. They started more as like those flash games are really simple. Well, if I were to give someone an example, it'd be like Pong or, you know, Pac-Man or some of those earlier games, maybe like Mario, but the early ones where you just jump and run. But now as the industry has kind of grown, people have committed more resources to actually building the games. There's, you know, actual gamers now who are interested in Web3 games. And Web3 gaming used to basically be a DeFi project with a Web3 gaming skin on it. So basically Goombles, we're trying to take that kind of Web2 quality and bring it to Web3. So we're a tower defense game that can be compared to Bloons Tower Defense was our main kind of inspiration. You probably don't know what that is, but basically, you know, in terms of speed, it's not really about how fast the game is. It's about the game mechanics and what you could do and play and fun. But we're not an entire metaverse. We're more of like, hey, this is what our game does. You could play it, you could level up and all that. And that's how we're going to basically get players who like that genre.
So the thing that actually was sold in the beginning of Web3 games, like giving players these upgrades that they can actually work with, and not just, as you said, I think that was a fantastic wrap up to this, what happened before, having DeFi with a gaming skin, and now you actually have a game with a DeFi part in it. Or
absolutely,
it's not even DeFi, right? It's an incentive system.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the game, right? So just to kind of solidify what you said, it started as basically you're trading tokens or, you know, clicking and then getting points that you're trading for tokens. And now Web3 gaming is evolving to, hey, you're actually playing the game, you're enjoying yourself, and you're getting some type of reward on chain now. So it's actually much better for onboarding. It's less focused on the economy. And now that economy is a completely new mechanic that other games don't really have. And if they do, it's not real, if that makes sense. It's not actually on chain. So it's very kind of unique. And a lot of gamers like to actually own their stuff. If you think of card games and stuff, it's very nostalgic, as you said, or it just feels better when you know that you own something. So there's definitely a lot of different genres that can take advantage of Web3.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, indeed.
I'm just
Any
thinking
other question?
But I have a question. Is
Please.
it a phone app game or is it is it more on a web app?
Yeah, got it. So right now it's our pre-alpha test. So we're pretty early in development, but
Mhm.
you can play on PC and Android. I'd recommend Android for a better experience. But eventually we are just gonna be on mobile. So we're gonna be
Mm.
on the Google Play Store, and then depending on what Apple decides for their Web3 legalities, I really want to get on the iOS. I'm sure we could find a workaround for that, though, no matter what they do in the future.
Nice. Sounds cool.
Yeah. Did you start out as a pure web app, or did you start with the Android app?
So we did an MVP that was on PC only, and then once we signed with the development studio, who basically we kind of refined our idea, and we launched for our pre-alpha, we launched the PC build and the Android build at the same time.
Okay, cool.
You are using Unity as a game engine, right?
Correct.
That was wonderful. That was a very diverse group today.
Yeah.
So in spirit of Hannah, that's how we did it today. Thank you, everybody. That was very interesting. I learned so much about gaming as well, which I thought I have grown out. I mean, I've been playing the recent, is it Snake? Yeah, there's this new version of Snake out there on iOS.
I'm building one.
Oh, you do. Damn it.
Wait, is this linked to like Snack though?
Yeah,
No.
No.
That would be
Oh,
cool.
no,
Could be
not
one day.
They should be.
they have one. I think they have.
Is
Yeah,
it?
They have
they
it.
are building something like that, but there is also another meme coin where is way smaller than a snack called Anaconda. And they contacted me asking if I can provide them with a small game. So I'm building a snake.
Yeah, that's a good idea though. And then for like everything, every dot that you catch, you earn something.
Exactly, something like that. Yes.
I love that.
I can't say much, but
Oh
all of
wow.
it will be fast.
I think that's how the
Wow.
Snake game works at the moment. Or it's supposed to. I just saw something on Twitter. Yeah, it's alive.
That's cool. I like that play on the old.
Let's wrap it up. Let's go to the families. Enjoy the evening.
Yeah, just a quick reminder that we have a proposal for our European Cardano community on Catalyst as well. We are trying to improve every time, making more Twitter spaces, making more Fireside chat, making more one-to-one interviews. And I think we are doing a pretty good job. So please support us again in round 11. And also
Yes.
please support my game, Rookies. There is a proposal there as well. And also Marcus as well.
We're currently open sourcing everything we do. So we're building a GitHub repo, and we're trying to build some sort of a blueprint for every community that is coming after us. No, that's not that's a wrong expression in that means something different. Like I meant building after us. Sorry.
We got
I'm
you.
not everything. Sorry. Join us and build, and don't lose faith, whatever comes in the upcoming economy. And yeah, stay connected, and yeah, keep the faith. Thank you for being here. Enjoy your
Thank
day.
you for hosting us. Great
Yeah,
Yeah,
project.
thank you guys. Have a good one.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.